President Cyril Ramaphosa is hosting his Kenyan counterpart, Uhuru Kenyatta, at the Union buildings to discuss the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, among others. Kenya has embarked on an ambitious campaign to vaccinate millions of its citizens before December, and is confident that it will start local manufacturing within the first quarter of 2022. Senior reporter Aviwe Mtila is there live for us. Let's cross over to him. Aviwe, we heard conversations have in fact concluded. We saw the signing of the MOUs. What is currently taking place now?
So now it's the business forums between South Africa and Kenya that are happening around Pretoria. In fact, business people are converging just to discuss the ease of doing business, which was one of the focal points here. I know that these two economies are giants when it comes to their respective regions in East Africa, Kenya, as well as South Africa being a giant economically when it comes to the SADC region. So they're talking together and how they'll strengthen their ties going forward. You know that in 2020 they made export from South Africa to Kenya sitting at around 7.5 billion rand. In comparison to Kenya's only 330 million rand worth of imports from Kenya. That's an issue, in fact, that was touched on by President Uhuru Kenyatta, saying that it's skewed in the direction of South Africa, and in fact it needs to amend it, and they'll ramp up that trade coming from Kenya to South Africa. But of course it involves the ease of doing business. In fact, a presidential task team has been set here to look into how they'll remove the red tape around travel between the two countries, and the deadline for that presidential task team has been given until 6 months' time. In fact, an issue that President Cyril Ramaphosa touched on here earlier. Let's take a listen to that.
Kenyatta and I have discussed and have said that we would like our ministers to remove any unreasonable barriers or challenges that are stifling efforts for us to trade between our two countries, and we want to increase trade between South Africa and Kenya on goods that South African market needs, and also vice versa.
Now, Aviwe, we also understand that Kenya's president will also be visiting the vaccine manufacturing plant in the Eastern Cape. How are they faring in terms of their rollout in their country?
In fact, President Uhuru Kenyatta spoke out about the more developed countries and how they're hogging these vaccines and vaccine nationalism. One of the reasons he'll be touring to Gqeberha tomorrow, to Aspen Pharmacare, just to look at how the vaccines there are being manufactured, mentioning that he's looking for Owns Kenya vaccines to be developed and manufactured back in Kenya in 2022. So he spoke out quite vocally in the issue around vaccine nationalism when he spoke a bit earlier on. President Uhuru Kenyatta. Let's take a listen to that.
It is unfortunate that at a time when the world should be collaborating in the fight against the pandemic, rich countries regrettably continue pursuing COVID-19 vaccine nationalism and hoarding. And therefore the imperative for African countries to build capacities to meet our vaccine requirements is therefore not only urgent but existential. We in Kenya aim to start local production of COVID-19 vaccines during the first quarter of 2022 with the aim of developing a fully fledged vaccine manufacturing capacity by 2024.
Well, thank you very much. That was a senior reporter, Aviwe Mtila, there at the Union buildings for us.